Hey everybody, welcome to the 20-game review for the Detroit Pistons this season. Last video we were doing a 10-game review. If you remembered in that one, Pistons' first 10 games, they went 4-6. There was a lot of things that I had liked in that 4-6, and I was hoping in this next 10-game series they could improve off that. Thought they had some winnable games. Unfortunately, they also went 4-6 in that second round of 10 games, making their record going into the next part of the series at 8-12. Which there's some good things about that. There's some bad things about that. The one good thing about that is, last year I don't think they got that 8th win until sometime in February, if not March. They're already more than half as many wins as they had the whole season last year. So that's the good thing. The other good thing, when I'm looking at this, is like I said, I obviously wanted them to get up closer to 500 by this time, but a couple things. They've lost some close games in this last 10. I think they lost 2 overtime games. One against Milwaukee Bucks, where they actually had the rookie Ron Holland shooting 2 free throws with a tie ball game with a second to go, and he missed both of those free throws to send it in overtime, where Milwaukee just absolutely took over. And they lost an overtime game to the Hornets as well, 123-121. They've had some close games in this span. In this last 10-game span, the last game 20, they did get blown out by the Grizzlies. That was just an ugly game. But they beat the Raptors 102-101 or 100, close game. They lost to the Magic 111-100. That game was somewhat competitive, though. They lost that overtime game to the Hornets 123-121, like I said, in overtime. They lost to the Bulls 122-112, and what was interesting about that is I watched that game, and that was a game where just the Bulls were on fire. I want to say that the Bulls shot over 50% from the three-point line. Let me look at it right here. Yeah, 23 for 46. They shot 50% from the three-point line. So, and it wasn't even like it was a situation where they were just making everything. Zach LaVine went kind of crazy in the fourth quarter. Vucevic was making shots. So it was one of those ones where that's just sometimes you're destined to lose games. That was one of those games. It wasn't like they were playing bad ball. It was just they couldn't miss. We blew out the Wizards 124-120. We lost we won a close one to the Raptors 99-95. Like I said, had that 127-120 overtime loss to the Bucks. In the game before that, we had a 2-point overtime win against the Heat. And then we had a close loss, 101-99 to the Rockets. So there's been some close games in that situation. The other thing that is making me not be too disappointed about the situation is that Cade Cunningham has been hurt for the last 4 or 5 games. They're definitely a different team when Cade Cunningham is not in there. So I think they went 1-4 in those games, but also in that 10-game stretch, we were missing Tim Hardaway Jr. for a couple of those games because he took that hard blow to the head. Tobias Harris has been out for the last 2 games. So, there's been a lot of injuries. So to still lose close games when you got a bunch of injuries, especially with that main guy in Cade Cunningham. Here's a couple of things that are still causing me concerns. The turnovers. The turnovers, sometimes it just gets hard to watch. We've got to be top of the league in turnovers. I guarantee we're top 5, but it seems like every game that I watch, they're at 20 turnovers or close to 20 turnovers every game. And it just seems like it also happens like in critical stretches of the game. Both Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, who are our two primary ball handlers, I think they're both in the top 10 in turnovers per game. So when you get the two of them together doing that, it really makes it hard. So that's something they're just going to have to, I know that happens with young teams, but that's something that we're going to have to overcome and stop doing. The other thing that's really, really disappointed me so far this season has been Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren was somebody that I really hope was going to step up and maybe not necessarily be an all-star caliber player, but, be one of those guys that they're talking about that could potentially be an all-star type player. And he's just 20 games in, he just hasn't done anything to really impress me this year. He doesn't have much of an offensive game at all. I thought that he would be somewhat of a rim protector, and he's really not been much of a rim protector. I mean, the only thing that he seems to do well right now is rebound and pick up fouls. He just picks up quick fouls easily, takes himself right out of the game. But quite frankly, when Isaiah Stewart's in the ball game, they have a better defensive rating. They have a better offensive rating when Isaiah Stewart is in the game. And don't get me wrong, I love Isaiah Stewart. I mean, but I don't want it to be where Isaiah Stewart is the better option. I said, I like Jalen Duren, so I need him to figure it out. The Pistons need him to figure it out. I mean, I've already heard people talking about trading him. I don't want to trade him. I want him to develop, because I really think that young core of Ivy, Cunningham, and Duren, if they can get to where they're meshing, I think that has the potential to be a pretty good big three for us, a young big three that can do some stuff. So the next 10 games we've got Indiana Pacers actually tonight, part of the NBA Cup. Then on Saturday, tomorrow, we have the 76ers. Bucks at home, Pistons or Celtics on the road, Knicks on the road, Jazz at home, Suns on the road, Lakers on the road, Kings on the road, Nuggets on the road. So that is actually a pretty tough 10-game stretch. So I kind of feel like we need to win this game against Indiana tonight and the game against Philly tomorrow for sure. The Jazz is a winnable game at home, but we need to figure out where we can get 2 or 3 more wins out of the rest of that and try to up this 4-6 10-game span and get up to a 5-5 or a 6-4. But this next 10-game stretch might not be that stretch to do it. But hey, we can keep hoping. Either way, Pistons are looking better than they did last year, but let's keep working, guys. Hopefully Cade Cunningham plays tonight. He is a game-time decision, but I think the last few games have shown that we really, really need him, and he's played very well this year. Turnovers beside the point. But, hey, we'll get back with you after Game 30. Do another review. Hopefully we're a little happier than we are this time around. But until then, go Pistons.